are back for Shark Nation. What is going on, everybody? This is episode number 78. We're going to dive into the big bad AI today with my buddy Jason. How's it going, my man?
Take me to your leader. I don't know. I was thinking that with AI and all the computer stuff. I'm in a goofy mood today, so just bear with me.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to sound more, it already sounds more um, not robotic than you just did. So it's advancing quickly. And I mean, you hear about this all the time. I think a couple things. I mean, one, it's not as simple as like it's not a magic button where you just press it and everything's going to work for you. Like right now, it's AI is out there in a lot of forms. I want to talk about how we're using it practically in the day to day. It's not a replacement for work, but it definitely can be a superpower in what you're already doing.
Oh,
Um,
for sure. I mean, we talk a lot about it, just from simple things, hey, make me sound smarter, right? When you're writing something out. Or, we use it for our business tools, right? When we're to transcribe our meetings and kind of give key breakaways or action items for after the meeting. I mean, it's amazing for stuff like that. But I mean, you could go down the rabbit's hole with some of this stuff. And I mean, it could be super advanced. I mean, some of the stuff that you're doing, I think, is like cutting edge, man. I think it's really valuable, and I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of value out of today of how you're using it and why, and not just using it as a work avoidance, right? Using it as a tool to better your systems and processes.
so one pro tip, like as it evolves, more companies are integrating it into their existing offerings. So I wanted to talk about this because of you just mentioned the note taking, and I'm sure everybody's seen the note takers, or if you're in any Zoom, you've seen the note takers, right? So,
Oh,
there's Otter and Reed and all these ones. Well, something happened interesting over the last week for me is so I have Calendly, to schedule one-on-ones with agents or even discovery calls with buyers and sellers. I think a lot of the real estate industry has Calendly, or you've seen it before. Highly recommend it. It's just one of the easiest scheduling tools that exist. And I have other tools that do it, but man, Calendly is just like buttery smooth. But here's a perfect example. Calendly integrated over the last week. I think it's kind of in beta, but if you have a Calendly, a paid account, I was able to enable it about a week ago, AI note taking. So I was paying for an AI note taker, Read.ai, and I was able to consolidate that into just Calendly, which I love. And the mobile app on Calendly is pretty good. So it's got all my meetings in there, and I'm able to, like, so scheduling, technically builds a funnel for you, right? Because your scheduling page is a funnel, like click here to schedule. So
yep.
builds a website, links with your calendar, and now records your meetings. Like Calendly has become a freaking superpower. Um, and they're so accessible for my phone. Like that's one of my biggest complaints with some of the other like Read.ai is like it's really, really hard to pull up the recordings on my phone.
Yeah. And full transparency, I have Calendly and I used it. And I'm like, I went into Chad's team huddle this morning and we did some prospecting training and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, could you send me the recording? I'm going to give it to the team to watch. I think it'll be valuable for them. Just as, like I said, we don't need to learn more, maybe just be reminded more. And you send me your Calendly link. I'm like, waiting for like a Zoom link or something like that. And he's like, did you click it? I'm like, yeah, I went to Calendly and it did open your calendar for the first thing to schedule with you, which was weird. And then I clicked it again, and it had the whole video recap of it. So then when I just sent that link to myself in Slack, and I was able to download the video, upload it to YouTube, and then share it with the team. I'm like, man, that's pretty fire.
And I think that's something to look at is how can you consolidate like as your other tools add AI features in them. I mean, Google's one, like it's just added so much. Like you can now Gemini's in whether it's in the chat section of your Gmail account or your emails, you can summarize them, or your docs, like what's in this folder. Like there's just so much that's come out. So where can and with all this coming, it's like as it evolves, where can you simplify? So I think it's important to not have 50 tools, to have less, like to have a simple system moving forward. So where can you bring AI? Like I will take slightly less features if it's integrated into something I'm already doing, than having
Yeah.
something separate.
I
And
think AI is super big, especially for agents and prospecting, right? Having that AI feature in so you get out of your own head. The auto responders for stuff where it'll kind of, in follow up boss, there's a way where you can, it'll basically read the transcriptions of any conversation that you had with your lead, go in there, and then based on your conversation, give you an auto response what to say to them. And then you can kind of clean it up however you want. I mean, how, dude,
that just came out. Like that's like this stuff is moving so fast. Like that was just a few weeks ago that they launched that. I
yeah.
mean, it's just moving. So, but the cool part I'm excited about the last few months is things are integrating in what we're already using as opposed to having these like crazy different
Yeah.
third parties. Like
50
that's where it's
different
gonna get fun.
add-ons and all that kind of stuff. I hate that when I have a team meeting and there's more note takers in there than people trying to jump in. I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, I
I'm
mean
like,
that's
yeah. I'm like,
that's
dude,
still
show up. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, no, I'm not
that's
letting
still
your
part
note
of the
taker in here.
problem.
Yeah.
So now let's go to some other ways that I'm using it. So one of the biggest, and if you haven't heard me say this before, like you're missing out. One of the best ways you can use AI, and all of our team uses it for, is role play. Um, because role play can be weird. You're in front of people, and like that, your nerves start kicking off, and it's like or it's weird with your spouse or your friend. So go into freaking ChatGPT, hit the voice mode, not like recording your voice to text, like talk to it. I think you can even do it on the free version. It's just a lot slower. If you have the $20 a month version, it's gonna actually like talk like we're conversing here, me and Jason. And but here's the thing, as I tell everybody that does this, you've got to tee it up. I am calling a lead who called on my listing and they were interested in 123, even give them the address, and they're not super excited that I called back, or like tee it up. You have to tell them, like, or I got a lead from Google pay per click or from Zillow, and I'm calling them about the homes that I sent them over, and they don't want to hear from me. Be hard to convert, make me ask a lot of really good questions, and you're just curious, you're not real serious. Like, you have to tee it up like that. But once you do that, you can go through, hey, this is Chad, just giving you a call. Just wanted to see what you thought of the listings I sent over. Oh, I was just looking. Oh, okay. Is that, and you can go through the role play. But I've done this when I had to have a hard conversation with a seller. I role played it prior about price. I've done it when I had to have a hard conversation with a team member. Um, role played it. I've done it. I mean, you can do it in your personal life. Maybe you have to have a hard conversation with a friend. Like,
Or your spouse.
I was leaving that one out, but you get it. So like we talk a lot on the show about, practice, right? Like professional athletes watch game tape, sorry, they practice, right? Chat GPT gives you, or just AI in general, gives you an easy layup area where you can practice without anybody else freaking watching. And it's
Yeah.
like having somebody else pitch back to you in baseball and not having to go ask them to go pitch back to you. You know what I mean? To throw the ball.
Having the automatic. I like it
100%.
too, like what you're saying with it. But after you get done, you could say, what could I have done better? Or
Mm.
what's ways that I could improve? And it'll actually give you, hey, maybe you want to tweak this or tweak that. And it gives you recommendations on what you said and how you did it, to get better. And the more you practice, the better at something you're going to get. I just had that conversation with you and the team this morning. It's like, expect that you're going to stink at it when you start. Like who was it, Adam on your team said, he played basketball. The first time you play basketball, you're not going to be very good. You don't know how to dribble. You don't know, all the positions. You don't know where everything. Every time you go to practice, you get a little bit better. You get a little bit more comfortable with it. You get a little bit more experience, right? It's the same thing with your role play and your prospecting and calling. At first, know going into it that you have to learn how to do it well. And then use these techniques like Chad's saying with ChatGPT, where you could go in there and have somebody practicing with you daily on it so you could get better on it.
And just using AI, like aside from all this, like I think it's something like 5% of the population can write code, right? 95% of people can't, right? So if you're a coder, you got a good job, right? Because not many people can do it, and I think those pay pretty well, from my understanding. I don't know, but you know,
Yeah.
I- going forward into the world of AI, in my opinion, like I mean, I talk to a ton of people that don't have ChatGPT on their phone. They don't know what it is. I'd say 90% of people don't have it. Um, Chad's GPT, Scott. Yeah, you know what is funny? I actually sign a lot of things that I send out to people that know I use it, like my wife, or I'll put Chad GPT at the bottom. It's a common joke around here, so I'm happy it's taken off. But I'd say like 80-90% of people use it don't use it regularly. Like they kind of just tune out to it. And here's the thing: what you just said about how you get better by doing things, using AI is also one of those things. Like if you're just kind of turning in ignorance, or like AI is going to take more of a place rather than less in the next 1, 2, 5, 10 years. It's clear, right? So if you're somebody who's just turning ignorant to it, I'm not saying you got to go out there and spend your whole life on AI, but you definitely should be aware of it and starting to figure out how can it work in my day to day. How can I use this practically? Like for example, we're not having AI just go make calls for us because this no, it can't do your push-ups for you, right? It's not able to do that, but it can role play so we can practice, right? There's an area where you can see how you can bring it into your practical day to day.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a tool in your tool belt, right? It's something that you can lean on. Say if you're struggling with your prospecting and you don't want to do it on a real person, you can practice on AI and just build your skill set up, right? And then you can keep telling it, like you said, be harder on me, be harder on me, make it tougher, make it tougher. And then as you learn these objections and all this kind of stuff, it's going to make more and more sense when you actually have that live conversation. Oh, okay, I'll use that response. And then just take that feedback. I always tell the team, journal what worked, journal what didn't work. So then if you ask certain questions and the conversation starts going sideways, journal, hey man, I want to, scrap that. Or hey, that one was really good and really opened them up to get that sales guard down, that barrier down, sales skepticism gone. So I could ask, just ask helpful questions.
Let me tie it all together so far with what we've talked about. So we talked about a note taker, the AI note takers. We've talked about role playing, and we've talked about asking it what you can do better. Watch this. So I download the transcript of a meeting. Maybe it was a recruitment meeting on Zoom or a consult, right? Maybe you have a Zoom consult, which some of our team members have had. Or I even had a meeting with a coach where they were trying to get me to see something a certain way and I was just missing it. I downloaded the transcript from the AI note taker, uploaded it into ChatGPT, and said, what could I have done better in this recruiting meeting or consult? What am I missing with my coach that he was trying to ask me questions to help me understand where I could improve, like help me self discover. That's a big thing because the only way, John Cheplack will always say the only way a human being will make a choice or make a change is through self discovery. So, when you're getting feedback from it, have it help you self discover. Like, and the final piece of this is like, and this has been crushing for those we have in real estate classes. They're asking, and it's always been asked, where do I go to prep for the exam? What's the best exam prep? And I've just given, I used to have a few paid practice tests. I've given up on all of them, but I tell them all go to freaking ChatGPT, say I'm taking the Pennsylvania real estate exam or Florida real estate exam or whatever. Ask me questions to assess how much I know and then help coach me and ask me new questions until I will pass the test. Something like that. Dude,
Yeah,
smoking it. Like somebody was taking the test 3 times, they failed. They did that and they passed the next time. Swear to God. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna use that because I have a lot of people coming through that pipeline as far as wanting to make a transition into real estate through the course, getting ready to schedule the exam. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna let them know that they can lean on that. And like you said, it's a practice thing. Another thing that you could do, like you said, you could upload if you did take the test. Your transcripts from the test, and it'll tell you what areas you didn't do so well on, and it'll say, "Hey, help me improve in those areas too."
yeah, dude, like I took a it's separate, but it's not. Like take a picture of your test result, like the categories it gives you, right? Like Jason just said, that's money. But like here, I put my pool, like the sample strip, where you see how what the levels of all the stuff are, and I put it next to the bottle that had the legend, and I took a picture of it and asked ChatGPT, what do I need to balance my pool? It freaking gave me exactly how much I need to put. I told it I have a 7 something thousand gallon pool, like gave me exactly what I need, and it gave me the links to buy it on Amazon.
Dude, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's getting out of hand. It's amazing. Like I said, if we want to go back to practicality and then we could go back to real estate, I like to do it for one of the biggest concerns that people have is like, oh, what am I going to cook every day? Right? So you could say, hey, ChatGPT, uh-oh,
Sometimes the human
uh-oh,
being.
failed me. Yep. That's true. But you could say, hey, ChatGPT, give me 7 meal recommendations. Give me 3 fish, 3 chicken, and 1 beef, or whatever. And then you could say, make them healthier. And then it'll give you like all kinds of different meals for the week. And then it'll say, hey, give me a grocery list based on that meal prep. And now it takes all the guesswork out
Ooh,
of all your thing.
pro tip on that one. Sort the grocery list by aisles, like, like by where it would be or by sections. Oh, that's huge. Because when you're in
Oh,
and then you got
yeah,
that
yeah,
list and you're ping ponging. Oh man, dude, that was somebody else gave me that and that was huge. Like
yeah, yeah. That's
it's
pretty
been,
sweet.
yes. We got, yeah, dude, they're all on there today. AI is the hot topic.
Everybody's jumping in.
That's good.
Everybody loves AI, man. We're not even here. We're
Yeah, this is AI generated. No, I'm
yeah, it's
kidding.
AI generated, right?
It will be. So one other really, really important way, and this isn't a team leader function, but I bet you can use it as a solo agent or even just with people you're working with. So I used to create SOPs. Our team, I don't know, we just never really sat down and wrote out standard operating procedures. Have a doc for this. What's the procedure to follow? And it's so nice whether it's just hitting record and voicing out what we do. It knows the software though. So like let's say you have like my team members have an admin because we have an admin on our team. He's a virtual assistant, Dennis. He's been with me for 5 or 6 years. Um, if they don't know, they could say like, give me step by step instructions in Follow Up Boss or in Gmail to do this and this thing. It will like to explain to my admin, like you could do it, and like because sometimes I know having an admin, I used to hesitate. I'll do that because by the time I explain how to do it to somebody, I could have it done. And now because ChatGPT knows most of the softwares and most of the major softwares, like whether it's our CRM, our email, it's like we're using StreamYard for this podcast. I could say, tell my admin how to tee up a StreamYard stream, so I have a repeatable link and um, add my background to it, and like it'll just you know list it out. And maybe it's in like 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm like put it in an email or a text message to him, and it'll just and
Copy and paste.
it's huge. One other big tip, and for consumers, if you're buyer seller and real estate watching this, and
Well,
you
real
know,
quick, just to touch on that. So, say if you're a team leader and you want to do it for SOPs, but say if you're a real estate agent and you're really not sure, what to say or how to say it on a call. Hey, could you give me a basic call framework for how I could open up my prospecting call? Or what's 4 questions that I should ask on every sales call, or something like that, and it'll break down your script like that. Like, give me a basic framework. So that's an idea for people.
100%. And so you can also upload your contract in and say summarize the details of this offer. Oh, dude, that one's really good. That
I've
one's
never
really
done
good.
that. I like that. You've done
Yeah.
that?
Oh, 100%. Like even just of course I can, I read it and I check it over. Like I'm not going to act like I just rely on it again cuz it can make mistakes. Let's be clear. I've had it make mistakes, but sometimes it's just nice to put it in a simple text before you call so the seller doesn't have this. Of course we have cover sheets and we can do that, but like, man, is it super easy? Just toss it in there, say, give me the basic details of this contract. And maybe it forgot the earnest money amount, right? Like maybe it just did it and didn't think it should. And say, no, add the earnest money, put that in a text for the seller. Boom, send it to the seller and then jump on the call. And it just makes it easier.
Yeah.
Um,
A lot of people don't realize that feature where you can upload documents to it and ask it to, hey, give me a summary of this. Or, hey, give me the 3 key points or takeaways for this. Unbelievable.
it's huge. No, yeah. And, even if you have look, we go to real estate school to learn all this stuff, then we get in the business, and I don't know, for me personally, prior to AI, like I had to Google a lot of those like fringe questions because you can't memorize all the, and then you actually, we say, hold on, the real estate school doesn't actually teach you about the contract anyway, so it wasn't even relevant. But so, there's times where we've got to get clear on like, well, what happens in this crazy one scenario that we get once every 10 years because it happens. No real
Yeah.
estate transaction is the same. Boy, I'll tell you what, it's super helpful. I wouldn't just rely on this solely, right? But it's helpful to go to your broker, to go to ChatGPT and like cross-reference, what does this clause mean? And it's just it's helped educate me on a lot of things.
Oh yeah. I mean, we talk about it all the time with the team, like read the contracts. You'd be surprised brokers that don't know what the contract says and some of the terminology in there. So where you can put it in there, it's like, what's the best way to phrase this? Or what's the help me understand the meaning of X or whatever. I mean, super powerful.
Or as a real estate agent, what tax deductions can I take? Dude, that one's good.
Ooh,
So moving onward though, some of the other ones, email. Um, but here's where like so I'm real picky, and maybe it's just me, but I hate this ones that I can read. It's like if you've got the dash in your stuff, I'm like personally, I'm like, yeah, I know you generated that with AI. I don't even want to read it. I know it's not you. The M dash, the longer dash, or because nobody uses those in their regular typing, or at least I don't. I'm real particular about how it spits stuff out, and I often edit it. Let me be clear, but we do write emails once a week that are educational informational that go out to our database, teaching our buyers and sellers about the market, about aspects of the real estate transaction. So the big thing for us, if you want to like take the prompting that I do with it, is first of all, I've trained it to write in my style, meaning like I like one or two sentences and then a new line. If anybody look at my posts, and you'll see that I just think it's more digestible than these big long word salad paragraphs. Is a better flow. So that's step one is getting it to understand that I want like one or two sentences and then a new line, with a space in between. After that, you have to make things understandable when you send a bulk email out to most people. So, and HemingwayApp.com is one of the best tools to just pulls the grade level of your. It's free. You can go there and pulls the grade level of your what you're writing. So I tell ChatGPT, all right, write an email about explaining the inspection process to my database. I'm going to send out a helpful email to them in my style with the spacing, and at a third grade level or lower, according to HemingwayApp.com. That's big. Yeah, like with all those words, according to HemingwayApp.com. Because without that, it just like it makes it like a third grader like wrote it, and you have to say according to HemingwayApp.com. I just wanted to read it that. So, um, but that's been super super helpful. And like, what are the top five restaurants to go to instead of having Thanksgiving? We did that once, and it just freaking
yeah.
pulled it up. Um,
Yeah, we
eh,
did that too. Where's five restaurants open for Easter in case you don't want to eat or cook in or whatever, and they bring it up in this area. Oh, give me three in Scranton, three in Wilkes-Barre, three in wherever, Northeast PA, and it's amazing. Another thing to chime in on your emails and stuff, you could also do it for social posts. And you'll see the people using AI when you see all the emojis, but you could say, hey, write this for Facebook, and you see fucking 5,000 emojis in their thing. That it's probably from some kind of AI.
yeah. Another thing I did too. It can pull a ton of data real easy. So it can kind of, it's not that great. You still need a human being, but it can assist with your CMAs a little bit. Like I've downloaded like a CMA report, uploaded it in, and said, based on this and that, what do you know? So an assisting tool to help you with your logic. But something else was interesting was, um, we took the, oh, what did we do? We took the home price appreciation over the last 50 years, put it in a table, and you could see that like other than '08, there wasn't any crazy drops, and you can get the average real quick, and it created a table that explained it helped zoom out and use logic instead of emotion on where interest rates are for a buyer, because we put it in a table and we were able to grab that data just real fast. So like it's a great way to sort through big data and files. I mean, the other thing I didn't know until probably 6 months ago or so is like how it can sort through CSV files too. If you export like maybe you have your phone contacts and you want to have your sphere of influence, it's like, you know, export this and give me the people with the last name L, or remove the column of this. Like it can edit a CSV file and make it clean so you can upload it even to a CRM if you're late to the game with that as a real estate agent. There's so much you can do there. Um, but one of the things I kind of alluded to earlier, but I definitely want to make light of for any agents listening deep on this show, asking questions. So one of the most important things that we do on our phone calls is not come out and just tell and try to sell like that. We want to ask questions and have, seek first to understand, then be understood, from the 7 habits of highly effective people, Stephen Covey. That's one of those principles, and have that curiosity. So one of the best things, maybe you get on these calls and you don't know what questions to ask. So it's like, what we'll do a lot is we'll tee up the scenario, Google pay per click lead, or somebody I've met with twice, or we lay the groundwork, and we say, now generate a list of 10 questions for me to ask them on my next call or in my next meeting that help them discover X. Oh, and then you
Oh,
got a library of questions to pick from. That one is huge. It might not sound huge, but I'm telling you, that has and it's like, okay, is it about like sales? Like, no, it's actually helping you ask proper, because like if you ask the proper questions that are deep enough, you're going to get to where somebody's truly at. And like, it's helped me with team members. It's helped me with recruits to understand where they're truly sitting and if we're a good fit or not, or with a buyer or seller. Are we truly a good fit, right? Like, where
hmm.
are you at? Are you actually, does this make sense for you? And if you ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers. But sometimes we just don't have those questions teed up, and those questions can make or break a sale.
So yeah, to tie back into that, there's a reason why God gave you one mouth and two ears, right? You should be listening twice as much as you speak. But every question or every sentence that you say to on a sales call should end in a question. Why? Because it's the law of reciprocity. Most likely, you're going to get a response based on finishing it with a question instead of a yes no answer, because then it kind of stalls the conversation. But when you end it with a question, it's going to be more of a natural conversation. They're going to be more willing to respond to that, and then you can play the back and forth and ask good questions just to find out what their motivation is and what they're actually looking to do. But if you end every sentence with a yes or no, hey, did you get my emails? No. Yes. Okay, and then you have that pause or whatever. If you end your sentence with the uh, "What'd you think of this?" or something like that, where you end it with
Or
a
what's most
question.
important to you
Yeah,
in the
what's
next
most
home? Or what do you want to change from your current living situation? Like, what do you want to be different in the new one? That's
yeah,
a great question.
yeah. What'd you think of the price? Too high, too low, just right, right? Something like that, where you could,
It's too high. What makes you say that? Like, when you go
yeah,
deeper, it just helps you get on the same page. Like, you know, a lot of what we do actually is just trying to help people see the clarity. Like get the clarity and like see that clear path forward. Help clear the myths, or the misconceptions about something. I mean, I just had a buyer on one of our listings that was just getting in their head about certain little things, and all I did was just super transparent and demystified a lot of the either the process or even things about the home. And then it was like, okay, I can move forward, because people think they're getting got, they're getting
yeah,
taken.
yeah.
And
Clarity is kindness, like I said. When people know that you're just there to help, then everything, all that sales guard comes down. They're more willing to share with you when they know that they're going to be riding arm in arm with you. But when you're asking stuff and maybe salesy type questions, and then they're like kind of getting defensive and stuff, then it's me versus you, not us. And that's where I think a lot of people run into an issue.
it's all about solving problems. Like, not just for us, but like, why do you think Amazon's so big? It solved a lot of problems. It's easy. It's way easier to get stuff from Amazon. My God, my front door is it's like Christmas every day,
Yeah.
but makes it too easy. But the point with that is like, AI is absolutely, if you've got, I mean, there's probably 20 examples we've given you all today here to help you solve problems. It's like, where's AI going to take over? Like, no one. You're like, go play the roulette wheel. You're not going to be able to figure it out. You know what I mean? We don't have a crystal ball here. But while it's evolving, if you're not utilizing one of the biggest disruptors we will probably ever see, You know what I mean? Practically, like if you're just turning up a blind eye to that, like no, you got to find a way to integrate it practically, like these examples we've given you here today. But at the same token, if you think it's your magic pill, it's going to do your work for you and your push-ups for you. Like, no, not that either. So just like most things in life, you can be too hard or too soft, right? You got to find that kind of middle balance. Um, that's with AI right now. That's the biggest thing I could leave anybody with is that you need to be aware of it. You need to be finding areas you can use it, but you do not need to become obsessed with it, and it will not replace, you know, you.
Yeah. Here's your action item for the week, and we'll leave you with this. Download ChatGPT, create your account, and just play around with it for a little bit. Ask it some good questions and just see how you could interact with it. And if you have any more questions on how to use it, like for your business, reach out to me in chat. I'm more than happy to help you out with it.
Have it create your business plan. We're coming to the second half of the year. My production is X. I want it to be X. You're a real estate agent with this. I'm willing to invest this into ads or do this or do that. Give me a business plan to achieve that thing. And then a pro tip is like, okay, and then I want to check back in with you every week, and I want you to hold me accountable to these things. Boom, that's how you follow through.
Oof.
Um,
Yeah. AI on your ass.
so Scott's using Grok the most.
Huh?
Good. Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, Grok's good. I've heard a lot of love from Claude too, and they're different. As you get in, Grok, yeah, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini from Google. I mean, there's a lot of different ones.
The best
Find
AI
the
you use is the one that you're going to use. So don't say, "Oh, I need this one or that one or whatever." Just get comfortable with them. Try a couple different ones out or whatever. All we're trying to do is get you to, expand your horizons. Try something new and see how it could be a tool in your tool belt. So then that way you can help grow your business. And like I said, there's a lot of practical things that we went over today that you could use it for as well.
Yeah, 100%. So I think like I said, there's a lot of people I think that don't even have it on their phone. You've got to be aware of it. You got to be starting to integrate it. You don't want to be the 90% of the population that is left behind because they don't know how to even just prompt
Yeah.
it.
Our, our
You'll get
AI is the future. It's here. It's like people when computers first came out and they're like, oh, I don't know, they'll never take off or what. It's going to be in your everyday life. The quicker that you adapt and realize that, the quicker that you can, you know, uh, learn to use it in a more productive way. It's just going to be beneficial to you.
go look at some of Gary V's stuff, man. He said some wild predictions about how the next 5 or 10 years could be. Like you're gonna, what did he say? I mean,
It's just
somewhere it's like
crazy.
you're gonna pay for services because there'll be less human stuff. Like you'll pay somebody to walk with you. I'm like, what? I don't know about that, but like, um, there's some other stuff that he had said too. Like, yeah, but that's a world we're entering in, and you can sit there and look at that 10 year and be like, oh, but you'll never imagine how it'll actually be, right? So the best thing you can do is, control the controllables. And it's right now with the AIs that are out there and accessible and aren't the hardest thing in the world to start to integrate with and understand. Weave them into your day to day, see how they can apply for you practically so that you're not getting left in the dust and just, by the time it's so advanced, you can't even catch up because it's another language, right?
Yep. Yep, for sure. Get after it, peeps. Appreciate you guys jumping on the show today. It was a fun one. If you don't take action and use what you learn on these shows, what good is even watching? Go out there and make it happen.
See you on the next one.